I've been making a wave-based RPG game for a little while now, and I must say, it's actually shaping up pretty well. Even though I've done a lot of work since the last video, there's been one major thing bugging me. The game still doesn't have a name yet. Unfortunately, naming things isn't really my strong suit. I don't know why, but whenever I have to come up with a name for a project, I just usually draw a blank. So, I've decided I'm going to let you guys come up with the name. To get your ideas to me, the procedure is actually really simple. Step 1. Scroll down ever so slightly. Step 2. Type your idea in the comment section. Yeah, that's literally it. I read each and every comment anyways, so I'll definitely see it. But without further ado, let's take a look at some of the new features I've added. The first thing I added was a way to regain health. I decided it'd be pretty cool to have a little vending machine that you could buy health from. And while I was at it, I figured why not make a blue one for mana. The UI design is inspired from the shop, which for consistency, I think I'll use as a template for everything interactable moving forward. One of the bigger things I added is the ability to upgrade spells. I've been fighting with the idea of a spell upgrade system for a while now, and I like the idea of taking some of the randomness out of the shop by allowing the players to upgrade spells they like into stronger variations. So, essentially an upgrade tree for individual spells. With my idea more or less fleshed out, I went to work and implemented all the UI, back-end work, and a second tier fireball spell to test it with. Next, I got my wife to draw a few concepts of a spell upgrader, and after agreeing on a concept, I created the final pixel art version, and now when you speak to her, she just activates the upgrade UI. And with that, we now have working spell upgrades. Even though we basically remade the shop last time, I still wasn't finished with it. An interesting idea I had was to implement a sacrifice and re-roll option, which would be available once per wave. I wanted the sacrifice to cost health and give you money, and the re-roll to cost money, but re-roll the entire shop. Luckily, I had the shop's backend in good condition, so it was pretty easy to implement. It's not very often things go smoothly with game development, and the hardest part was just to draw the icons for them. So, I'm counting it as a win this time. I thought it'd be really cool for certain spells to apply a status effect when it hit an enemy. So, for example, an ice spell would freeze the enemy, a fire spell would burn them, and an electric spell would stun them. Since creating the spell system, I've wanted to implement status effects, and I've already assigned each spell a specific element, but I knew it'd be a decent amount of work, so I've been intentionally avoiding it up until now. After praying to the Unity gods, the first thing I worked on was the programming, which involved me going through the old enemy code and reworking it to allow stun, burn, and freeze. I also worked resistances into it as well for certain enemies like the Wisp, who definitely shouldn't be burned. After that was done, I created the visuals for each status condition and tied it to the corresponding condition. Then, after some playtesting, I assigned the damages and duration of each effect. I must say, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, and I might even add a few more, like poison or bleed, in the future. Before we get into the last part of the video, I just want to address something that has been bothering me. And that is that I rarely show bugs in this series. No, I'm not some Unity Grandmaster who doesn't have them. In fact, I get them just as much as the next guy. But I often just don't think to film them. I just wanted to bring it up because I don't want to feed into some belief that it doesn't happen and discourage all of you who might be trying to create a game into thinking, but ThatOneUnityDev made it look so easy. Well, that's exactly right. I am in fact just making it look easy, and you'll have to believe me when I say that behind every new feature, there's long hours of bug fixing and playtesting to get what you see on screen. So, if you're new to game dev, don't get discouraged if something isn't working first try. It usually doesn't for us either. And if you have no idea about game dev and are just here for entertainment, know that us game developers put blood, sweat, and tears into our craft. So make sure you like and subscribe. I'm just kidding. But I'm glad to be able to talk to all of you and set the record straight. So, with that PSA out of the way, let's look at the final thing I implemented into the game. The first boss. I teased in the last devlog that there wouldn't be a boss for a while. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I haven't put bosses in the game just quite yet. But after I hit that upload button, I couldn't get it out of my head. I would lie awake in bed at night with the word boss flashing in my mind over and over. So I caved, and I asked for my wife to start a few boss concepts. She came up with a few different designs, but after agreeing on one and creating the final art, I present to you the first boss. I have so much to say about this absolute mad lad, and it's taking everything I have to not reveal everything known to man about this guy. Despite this, I feel like it's best if I keep the technical side a secret, as it wouldn't be much fun to play knowing all of his attack patterns, HP, AI, and so on. But that's all I have for this devlog. It's actually crazy to think about how far we've come in such a short amount of time. I never thought I'd actually have to start keeping secrets about the game from you guys. It's such a weird thing to me, since I'm used to sharing the progress so openly. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you want to keep up with the game, you can always join the Discord, where I post regular updates and footage between videos.